Hey, it's Luke from Dance and the Game Man. What? It's Luke from the future. I'm here to tell you that you need to play more board games and have more fun. Wait, you mean I'm never gonna grow? Sorry, bro.
Okay, this is a feel for how the game plays video, not how to play the game video. So here's Arc all set up, and basically you have these 4 cards here, and these represent different timelines, basically. So this is the past, and when you're in the past, it's always the same thing. At the beginning of your turn, you draw a card. Well, you draw a card at the beginning of your turn, so you draw 2 cards at the beginning of your turn, the way how I understand the rules. And then these eons here are affiliated with these different characters. So that's like, the way how I understand this is it's present time for this character. They live in alternate realities, and they time travel, and they're trying to, take each other out as they, have all kinds of evil plots where they're trying to change things and whatnot. So then there's the future, and at the future, you gain 2 health at the end of your turn. So if you're real clever, one thing I've learned is you can start in the past, and then you can shift over here and heal at the end of your turn. So you get both benefits of the eras, but more on that later, I guess. Basically, what happens in this game is you have your deck of cards here, and there's all kinds of cards in here, and the art on them is pretty good, actually, for independently developed and produced game. I have to give them a lot of credit on that. So I'm not sure who their artist was, but they did a good job. You basically have your turn where you start off at the beginning of your game with 4 cards in your hand. And the way how this game works is it's all driven off of energy or force or something called arc, A-R-C. And so you play down cards that are going to modify the amount of arc you have to play other cards down. And there's a cost associated to play these cards. So in the upper corner here, this card costs 4. That means I need 4 arc to play. Well, here's where this game's kind of unique and different from other games I've played like this. I have 4 cards in my hand, which means I have 4 arc power, and then my character has a 0 up here, which means he doesn't generate any himself. So I'm stuck with just 4 arc. But that means any card that says 4 on it, I can play. So this card says 4 on it, so I can play it, and it's called Secret Power Facility, but it also has a -1 here. So that means I need to discard 1 card as well at the time of getting rid of it. So I'm going to go ahead and play that down, and this is a relic card, which means it's on my character. It's not a one-time type deal. And then this is a trinket card here, but this has got a fate thing on it too. So this is called the arc amplifier, and it says you have +1 arc. So it says fate. If you have to discard this card, you may immediately play it for free instead of putting it in your void. Your void means your discard pile. So I have to discard a card to play this card. I'm going to discard this one, but because it's a fate card, or has a fate ability, it gets to go out. And this gives me +1 arc. So now let's recalculate my arc here, okay? I have 1 arc here. Well, this is +1 arc here. Plus nothing that he generates, plus 2 cards in my hand. Cards in my hand generate arc. So I have 3 arc now. Now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, hey, he spent 4 to put down the secret power facility. Well, that's not how this game works. This game isn't like, it says in the directions, it's not like an allowance where once you spend it, it's gone. I have that kind of arc in my hand the entire time that I want to play. So now I have to think about if I want to put this trap down or not, and that would totally run me out of cards. I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and put this trap down so I can show you how a trap works. Now this is a leg snare, and this says the target Eon may not rift this turn. So if somebody triggers this trap, then that effect happens to them when they go to that era, when they time travel. So I'm going to go ahead and put that here in the future. Now the way how traps work is you put them face down in a tapped position. Now the word tapped is going to mean something to people who've played Magic the Gathering or other card games. But you tap cards by turning them sideways, showing they've been used. Well, this goes into a tap position, and then on my next turn, it will refresh. So now that trap is totally set. So once somebody goes there, it flips over, and that happens to them. But I have to put that there in a tap position. Now I'm down to 1 card here, and this obviously costs 6. But it has a +2 here, which means that when I get to play this, I'll draw 2 cards. So this is a really nice, powerful card. I'm just going to hang on to it, though, for now. Now, my character has abilities as well that cost arc. Well, I have 1 arc here, +1 arc here, so I have 2 arcs. So anything that costs 2 arc or less, I can go ahead and do that are his abilities. Well, he can, for 5 arc, he can give 2 damage to all other characters in the era that he's in. Well, there's no other characters in his era. And then also he can rift to another era for 0. So I could go over here to where she's at. Or I could attack another player in the same era. Well, I'm not in the same era, so I'd have to switch over first, then attack, which is doable. And then for 1 arc, I can draw a card. Well, I think I need to get some cards. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to rift over here to the past, and that takes one of my exhausts. Now, the character cards, equipment cards only get 1 exhaust. It's like 1 tap. But characters get 2. So I get to tap this again to do something else. And there's no other characters in my era. I'm going to use that to go ahead and draw a card. And I can do that because it only costs 1 arc. So I draw another card up. And it's a relic card that I could be able to play down later. But I think I'm going to hang on to it because I might want that extra arc. So that's it for that turn for this player. Well, then this player has the same thing going on. They draw up 4 cards. And actually, they drew 5. But she has 1 arc that she generates. Plus, she has all these cards here, too. So she has some really nice, powerful cards like this Bound Armament. And Bound basically just means that only this faction can play it. So for like the purpose of deck building, if it's a Bound card and your character doesn't have the symbol there that matches up, you can't play it. At any rate, these cards all generate different things, do things for your characters. And essentially, I'm going to go ahead and put up a picture now of these 2 characters here, okay? So you're going to see a picture now of these characters. So I can go over a couple things here. Now, this symbol up here in the upper right-hand corner is like their faction symbol. And then you can see other abilities there, how much they cost, the art cost on them. But the one thing I want to point out to you before I wrap up basic play is the numbers in the bottom right-hand corner. The first number is what they call their power. The second one is their health. So Abigail has 3 power and has 21 health. Whereas Brian has 4 power and 20 health. So that means that he can do 4 damage to her when he does his basic attack. And she does 3 damage to him when she does her basic attack. And obviously that's going to get modified throughout the game as we put new equipment and everything else like that on there. So this certainly isn't going to be enough to teach you guys how to play the game. It's not horribly complex, but the big difference in this game over a lot of other collectible card games or living card games is that the way how you have arc that you can spend. I mean, typically you have like, a certain amount of land or mana down and you have to tap it all and then it's spent and then you can play things down. Well, the way how this works is it more balances the number of cards that you have in your hand. So you can play a lot of cards out in your hand in 1 turn. Some of these games go really fast. Some of them go really slow. Not really slow, but it's a different flavor. It's a little different than some of the other games out there. So at any rate, that's enough that you can get a feel for it. And understand what Luke and I are talking about when we do our review now. So that's it. So that's how you play Ark. What do you think? You seem different.
He's on to us.
I know it's Luke. Anyway, Luke and I will tell you what we think of Ark. Well, I'll tell you what I think of Ark first. It's a good game. If you like CCGs or LCGs, meaning collectible card games or living card games, it's worth picking up. The pros about it are this. It's pretty cheap. You get a lot of cards for like $25 shipped to your house. So you get 6 full-size faction decks or something like that. There's a lot of replay value in that. Plus, a lot of the cards are able to be universally used between factions. So it's a lot of deck building, a lot of fun in a card game to play. It does a couple things mechanically a little different than ones that are out there. So if you like Magic or if you like Netrunner, Star Wars, those games, it might be worth picking up for you for sure. I mean, just pretty inexpensive. And I think they're coming out with more cards. So good for them. I admire a little indie company like this coming out with a game like this. This isn't really my bag of tea. My cup of tea. So at any rate, given that this isn't really my typical kind of game that I really enjoy playing that much, I'm going to give it a 7, which is probably a pretty high rating for a card game like this. It's pretty fun, and I've played it probably 10, 15 times now. It holds up. Every game plays a little different. Every faction plays a little different. New equipment comes out all the time that I'm not familiar with. So as more cards come out, it'll probably even get better. The quality of the cards is decent. The art is good. Not a bad game at all. What do you think of it?
First of all, I love the theme of time traveling.
Oh, you do, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
It's getting more onto us.
Anyway.
Okay, and I like the battling dynamic. I forgot the word there, but it's a pretty fun game overall. I like how you set up traps and it's like, oh man, that does damage to me? And then you could probably teach it to maybe a kid that's 9. Just because it's a little more advanced than other games.
So what's your number rating on it?
Number rating is probably maybe 7.
Okay. Any other thoughts on it?
Not any thoughts. No. I'm gonna get you, you time traveling and